You recently filed an amendment to the 2013 Farm Bill that would call for stiff punishment to IRS agents who leak.
Right.
What would that punishment involve?
Well, it basically could become a felony if they're doing it deliberately like that, and I think that's really problematic. Think about it. You're turning over documents to a government agency, and then someone in that agency is cooperating with the press in an effort to embarrass you, and that's separate from this whole paperwork targeting and the not-profit section. I mean, that's another thing that happened that hasn't gotten nearly enough attention that should be looked at as well. So that needs to be stiffly criminalized.
Forget about whether you should cut him, cuff him, to hear Marco Rubio tell it that any IRS agent who knowingly leaks taxpayer documents should know he or she is going to prison. To Scottie, Nell, Hughes, and Rich Benjamin and Matt Welch. Scottie, what do you think of that?
Well, I think it sounds absolutely perfect. Senator Rubio is exactly correct. This is like IRS agents gone wild. And according to Lois Lerner, what we originally thought were just a bunch of frat boys in a Cincinnati office causing this trouble, we're finding that it goes all the way almost up to the top. And so why not sit there and hold these people to a higher standard, a standard that's second to the military, should be one of those that we give them our most sacred of information. Why should we sit there and allow them to get away with this type of treason?
You know, Matt, I would try to give the IRS the benefit of the doubt, even in the interview with the senator, where the point is, well, how do you know when they're targeting a group that they or even leaking the information to get more information on a group, let's say, that it is with actually the long-term best of intentions to get either money or suspicious activity revealed out of a group? In other words, that by dumping possible prison time on them for such activity, it's stifling that activity.
Yeah, I mean, I think what he's talking about is kind of two different things. Whatever happened at the IRS, we don't know how much of it was sort of politically directed from the top or how much of it was a culture that just thought that Tea Party groups are kind of scary and yucky and that we should follow them closely.
Right.
That's kind of different than, say, choosing a group and then selectively leaking to the press, hey, they have some pretty interesting tax status you might want to look at. That is dangerous and that is super creepy. It's not exactly what's under the discussion here. I would inject a note of caution. We've just had the administration going after Fox reporters and other reporters using the Espionage Act. We had Judith Miller gone under for the Intelligence Identities Protection Act. Both of those acts were designed to stop leaks, just like Marco Rubio's are. In practice, what they do is that they give prosecutors more of a cudgel with which they go after people who are around those who get information, which are journalists, they're psychotherapists, they're other people.
Right.
So, you know, I understand the sentiment. I agree with it to a large extent, but it might just be another prosecutorial ruse to go after journalists and other citizens even more than we already are.
I just wonder where it all goes, because there certainly is a culture in Washington, it seems rampant, whether by design or a sinister intent to pick everything apart, to strong-arm your way. And whether you're deliberately doing it by edict or you're just trying to lay the foundation that the boss would really like us to do this without the boss saying anything. It is an intimidating culture, isn't it?
It's definitely intimidating, whether Obama directed it or whether the former Bush appointee who led the IRS at the time directed it. It's unexcusable.
You didn't
either
waste
way.
12 seconds getting to that.
No. But who's ever at the top, it's absolutely unacceptable. But two things could be happening. One is unfair targeting of these folks, the Tea Party group. Another thing could be a culture of incompetence. So, for example, to get tax-exempt status, you can't be engaged in political activity. But as someone who works for a tax-exempt organization, it's not always clear. So, for example,
Media Matters has tax-exempt status. Last time I checked,
no. I don't work for them. But for example,
I'm not saying you do. I'm just saying that it cuts both ways. Right?
So if you contribute on your BlackBerry, your work-related BlackBerry, is that political activity? So to create a shortcut to save themselves some time, they said these Tea Party groups sound political, so let's do due diligence, let's give them scrutiny, as opposed to groups that are, say, cancer-related or disease-related. And so it was
I tried to cut slack.
The search terms were explicitly right-wing stuff. It was like Constitution, Tea Party, limited government, so much so
politically related
that
stuff.
People, but right-wing
politically related
so
stuff.
much so, I mean, the IRS has acknowledged this. President Obama has acknowledged this. He said that they improperly weighed those political terms to be conservative terms. They corrected for it, and then they went back. So let's not gloss over that.
But that's different from a conspiracy theory versus a shortcut and laziness to sort of cut your short load.
No one's
between
talking about
2010
conspiracy
and
theory. That's the thing.
2012.
I mean, we're talking
Well,
about.
Scottie, the end is to both of these gentlemen's point a little earlier that whether it was deliberate or accidental, if your defense is that you're an idiot and you were out of the loop, you didn't know about it, I don't know if that's going to cut it.
Yeah, no, I don't agree with the select amnesia that these last few weeks everybody a part of the Obama administration has had. And what's even more scary, Neil, as you've pointed out several times, they've just hired 16,000 people to handle Obamacare. And I think we need to sit there and instruct these guys to have those same high standards that we hope our IRS agents would have. HIPAA can only protect us so much. And if these people know how much money's in our bank account, how much we make, as well as our medical records,
Well,
that
it's
is a very
scary.
dangerous
Scottie,
tool
you're right.
right
But
there.
Matt, I think sometimes they doth protest too much, whether in the administration or otherwise, because someone was leaking like a sieve on the whole Osama bin Laden raid material. That made the administration look good. Maybe stuff that doesn't make them look good, well, then that's a problem, and we're going to be on you like stinking, you know what?
Of course. I mean, every administration throughout history wants to crack down on unflattering leaks while
Sure.
leaking like crazy. I mean, go read the New Yorker article reconstituting the Osama bin Laden thing and tell me what part wasn't a leak, right? The
That's a
whole
very good
thing
point.
was a leak. Very good read. I have no idea if any of it was true.
But
Well,
you can't have your cake and eat it too. That's the
That's
thing.
a stupid
Either you like
expression
them or
if you
don't
think
like them.
about it, because if you have your cake, eat the damn thing. But, Rich, where do you think this is going, and has it compromised these institutions, particularly the IRS?
It has compromised, and what pains me is that this is like a big, fat, slow pitch sailing across the home plate for the Republicans. And Obama needs to acknowledge the wrong, move on, and not let it compromise his agenda. And as far as tax
But
matters go,
you have to admit, he has botched his response to this, the president.
so far, yes. Yeah, so far, yes.
And
but
you
he cannot
regret not
let-
voting for Mitt Romney, don't you?
No. Because as a tax matter, why are we talking about Apple dodging billions of dollars of taxes? We are on tax and politics this week, and I'm just fascinated and amazed that we are not talking about Apple's.
By the way, that's
it's-
apples and oranges here, no pun intended, but Apple still paid a close to 24%
There's a difference between
tax rate.
But we
using
be-
power against
Yeah.
American individuals
That's
And
an-
illegally using the
and
tax
legally
code.
using the tax
That
code.
is
There's a
an
huge difference.
unethical
Category
use.
difference.
Even though they didn't break the letter of the law, what
Right.
what Apple did was unethical, and it's very much related
Well,
to
now
abuse.
you're dumping on Apple. When I was saying all these bad things about Apple last year, you were just, oh, I think they're cool, I think they're great.
Oh my goodness! But they're very related. We have
I
to.
know you're wrong, but that was nice. Guys, we're going to have them all back.